What's crackin', Eggheads? This is Ashleigh, founder of the indie educational video game studio Electric Egghead, and I am on the 4th month of Thomas Brush's Start a Game Studio in 12 Months challenge. And for this month, I will be learning the basics of C++, and in this month you learn to code. You can follow the hashtag 12 Months Game Studio and the Discord link to join some of your fellow devs and have a lot of fun and share your progress. Alright, let's get started. Okay, here we go. So I'm working in Visual Studio 2015, and I am working on a YouTube tutorial by Mike Dane, who also is the founder of Giraffe Academy. Right now I'm going to be learning about while loops. So let's keep going. Now, let's see. I will be watching the tutorial on my phone, and hope you enjoy the video and learn some things about C++. And if you have any questions, just ask them in the description below. I will try to answer as many questions as possible and just maybe have a bit of fun, enjoy some music, and do a lot. Alright, cool. Let's keep going. Alright, so I'm going to just start a new function to put in this while loop, and I will, just a moment, I will declare it in the top of my program. I will call it in the main, and then I will define the function at the bottom. So I'll just call it void while func. Okay, and this is just like a a practice function. So this is where I'm going to define my function. So I'm going to say what I want the function to do, and this goes under my main. So this is outside of my main. Then I'm going to go back up to the top in the preview window in Visual Studio 2015, which I'm going to update to 2019, but I haven't done that yet. So at the beginning of my program, I'm going to declare my function. I'm going to actually put it with the other void while func, and then semicolon. So that's just telling my program that the while func exists, and so that way I can call it in my main. If you don't declare it, you'll be unable to call it in the main, because the main doesn't know it exists if it's not declared at the beginning, even though it's defined at the bottom, because the function is declared outside of the main can't use this whatever is defined underneath the main if you haven't, because it doesn't know that it exists. So let me just go back up to the top, and I have declared it here. I'm going to call it right at the top. That way I can just see its output. And then I'm going to just move it later on. Okay, so awesome. Hope you're having a great day. I hope you are learning things. I hope you are improving yourself, and just know that you are amazing and you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, of course we cannot fly without an aircraft, but you can do, your dreams, you can make them happen. You can just keep working at them every day and believe in yourself, and whatever it is, you can do it. You can contribute your difference to the world. Alright, cool. Okay, so why do you use a while loop? You use a while loop when you want to check a condition to see if it's true. So you'll say, while something is true, do this. So I'm going to write this function. I'm going to write it in my defined area. Alright, so let me just continue the tutorial. Alright. Yep. So we're gonna put a condition within the parentheses, and then while that condition is true, we're going to do something here. All right. So while the index is less than or equal to 5, do something. We're going to execute the code within these two curly brackets. In L will give you a new line, and we're going to print out index. Now usually you put standard cout to specify the namespace, but what I did was I did a using declarations where I define the cout, and then I replaced the standard cout with just cout, or standard cin with just cin. That way I can just put these purple ones instead of this having to constantly rewrite standard cout or standard string and all these things. And then, quick little segue, and then I just hashtag include my using declarations.h file, which is right here within my main.cpp, and that you use that with quotation marks. All right, and that's why I'm just putting cout instead of standard cout. So if your program may not work if you haven't like done this thing, and this is not something, I don't think it's best practice or anything, but something that I like to do to make it a little bit, a little bit less typing. All right, let's continue. All right, cool. Let's see, where was I? Here we go. Alright, so, and then after we're gonna output index, the number, and then we're gonna increment the number, and then we're gonna loop it again until we get to 5. So let me just push debug, and then F5. And you can watch push F5 on your keyboard. Alright, cool. So, let's see what happens. Let me see. Build started. Alright, it is going. And ready! I think it came up. No, not yet. And here we are. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it outputted up to the number 5 because we wanted it to loop until it got to 5, less than or equal to 5. So it's not gonna output 6 or anything because 6 would make the statement 6 would make the condition false. All right, so let's keep going. I have some tea. Okay. Okay. So it just increments up, start at 1 and then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then it goes false because it has to be less than or equal to 5. Okay, so with loops, this for me is a big problem. I do this admittedly more often than I would like to admit, but I'm gonna admit it anyway. So it's called an infinite loop. It's when this happens when you create a loop and you never actually set it to go false. So it just continues to keep running and running and running and running, like the wild coyote and the runner. I forgot whose name. Anyway, but see, this system will just keep running the loop infinitely, and that can be dangerous for like it can crash a program, or it can even crash your computer if you don't stop the infinite loop. So we're about to create an infinite loop and then stop it from running. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So this would never actually go false. So if we get rid of this, if we get rid of the increment, that means this condition right here will never go false according to Mike. So I'm going to push F5, and we're going to see just a minute, let me show you. We're going to just see 1 1 1 1 forever, and you see my little cursor, you see how it's blinking? It's continuously doing ones because it never actually goes false. So I'm going to close it out so it does not do anything like that, and then just put this back in here. Put this increment back in there. Oops, I wrote it wrong. Alright, so that's what happens. Again, I am guilty of infinite loops. So I definitely you definitely want to think through your loops. Though I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say that I don't do them, because I do. Sometimes I try not to. So there's another loop we're gonna go through. Okay, wait. So let me go back a little bit. We've already gone through if loops, and this is a while loop, and now I believe we're gonna go to a do while loop. All right, but for right now, let's just what happens. Let's see what happens when it's false. When the index starts at 6. Actually, what's going to happen is the stuff inside of it is not going to actually execute. So nothing is going to print out. I'm push F5 and ta-da, nothing happened. Now this is my later code. Alright, so nothing actually happened. So the next loop we're gonna do is a do while loop. So this one works a little bit differently than a while loop. A while loop checks the condition first and then it executes the code. So wait, let me just update these ones. Alright, so here's the while loop. I'm going to change to do while. And C++ is a case-sensitive language, so you have to make this one match with everything else. I changed the do to lowercase and the while and the func to uppercase. And this is called camel case. Alright, so now I'm going to change this one as well, make the capital. Alright, and now these are all good. So let me go back to my definition of the do while function and show you how to write it. Alright, so again, a while loop checks the condition first to see if it's true and then it executes the code. But a do while loop does the opposite. Alright, so a do while loop, oh, this is not right. There we go. So this is how what a do while looks. I have an extra one. And there we go. Alright, so this is a do while loop. What a do while loop does is that it runs the whole it executes the code and then it checks the condition. So it executes all the code one time and then it says, oh, is it true? If it's true, then it loops again. But unlike a while loop, it runs the code first and then it checks whether or not the condition is true. So let me just make sure this is correct, following Mike, and continue on from there. Okay, so a difference for this one is even though index is already 6, this is gonna print out 6, and then it's gonna say, oh, but 6 makes this false, so it's not gonna run again, but it will run that one time, and we'll get the number. Oops, I got no, I got a build error. What did I do wrong? Let's see. Error list at the bottom left. Back to the declaration. I wrote my loop wrong. Just a minute. Let's see. Index equals 6. Do index plus plus while index less than equal to 5. Expected a declaration. Just a minute. Let me go back. Wait just a minute. Here it is. So I don't need this one. Oh, I don't need this one either. Sorry. Okay. Error list. Syntax error. Let's see. Missing semicolon before this one. What do I loop? Int index equals 6. Do output this. Then increment the index. That's right. Close it while. This should be working. Let me F5 again. Go up. Okay. Let's see. So here we go. Okay. So we. Oops. There we go. So it printed out 6, and then it said, oh, okay, it's false. And then so it didn't go to any other numbers. All right. So this is a do while loop. Okay. Alright, so according to Mike, everything you can do with a do while loop, you can do with a while loop. So according to him, do while loops aren't necessary, but for certain situations, you may want to use a do while instead of a while. Alright. Alright, there is one more loop, which is called a for loop. But that's not going to be in the tutorial that I'm looking at, so I'm going to just do that some other time. Alright, so let's keep going. Now I'm going to put a while loop or a do while loop in my actual main program. So let's see. What do I want it to be? To do task list, which is cool. Alright, so, oh, I fixed this actually. Let me just erase that. Alright, that's fine. Move to the end. Okay, now this is in the space that it's supposed to be in. Okay, so let me go back up to the top. Alright, so, that's alright. Now what do I want this to do with this while loop? Actually, I wanted to have it right, where is it? Let's see. Actually, I have a do while loop right here. I have a do while. Okay, so actually I already have a do while loop. Alright. So I'm not gonna put one in my program separately because I already have one. Alright, so I'm just gonna keep going and erase this one. Say push control. You can go here actually and look up all your loops and all these things. I'm gonna erase this one. And the cool thing about this is after I erase that one, I'm gonna get a nice error message so I can find the next one easier. In my preview window down right here. So get rid of that. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, what are we learning now? In C++. Let's learn. Yes. Okay. Building a guessing game. We're making a little game. Cool. Okay. Okay. So I will make another function for the guessing game, and then I'll declare it here, call it in my main, and define it underneath my main. So let's listen to Mike. All right. Okay, so we'll be guessing a number. Alright, so if the player doesn't get the number correct on the first try, we're going to keep asking them to enter the number again until they do get it correct. We'll go to the bottom. So if something needs to be done continuously, then usually you want to use a while loop. Alright, so here's my function where I'm going to define what it does at the after my main. Alright, so define number. Oops. Yes, that's right. Okay, perfect. Alright, so this means, so we declare two integers. which are numbers that do not have any fractions, any fractional part, and so they don't have a decimal. So we have said that the secret num is 7, and then we have also declared another int called guess. So the user puts in a guess, and then eventually it needs to match the secret number. And of course, as the programmer, we know what the secret number is. But of course, for the player, they're not gonna know. So we then said, while the secret number is not equal to the guess, do this. So this will be true until they guess 7. And then once it's 7, it'll go false and they'll win the game. Alright, so until they get the number, until the secret num and the guess match, it's gonna keep asking them to enter another guess. And then when they do get a matching number, it's gonna then say, "You're amazing, you win, you rock, you're awesome." Alright, so then we can go ahead and run it. That's all you need to make the secret number guessing game. Okay, and F5. And this should run properly. Nope, still there. I did something wrong. Errorless. Let's see what I did wrong. Secret num game must return a value. Alright, because I wanted it to return an integer. Let's see. We can just have it return the... I'm actually going to just make it void. It doesn't have to return anything. So void makes it so it doesn't return anything. Oops. Void. Alright. Now this should run. Okay. What is going on? Cannot overload functions distinguished by return type alone. Oops, oh, I forgot to change the other one. Okay. Void secret num game. Secret num game, call it here. And... okay, this should work. Maybe. Oh no, it did not work. What am I doing wrong here? Uninitialized local variable guess used. Okay. No, I don't need to initialize this variable. Int guess equals, I don't need to initialize it. And initializing it just means setting it to a number. This variable is initialized, but this variable is not. But I shouldn't, yeah, I shouldn't need to initialize it. Alright, so let me just rebuild my program. Or build solution. I guess that works. Which probably will fail. Yep, it fails. Okay. There's something wrong. I should be able to just use it uninitialized. Mike does it. Why is it telling me that I can't use it? Why am I getting this error message? I've done something wrong. Let's see. What is the problem here? Why is it not working? What let's see. Well, I shouldn't have to initialize it. Equals 0. Enter a guess. 8. Enter a guess. 7. And then it says, well, let me go back up. You're amazing. You win. There once was a man named Tom Scott. What? No, I'm just kidding. There's it right there. This little message right there. All right. Cool. So, I don't want to initialize the variable though, because I want it to be blank. Uninitialized, and yet I'm getting an error message. Uninitialized local variable guess used. I'm going to push this right here, and it'll take me to the browser where I can look up some information, because I don't think I shouldn't have to initialize the variable. Okay, permanently redirected. Gotcha. All right, so there's 2-minute read, and this is the Microsoft documentation. Okay. Anyway, so 5 contributors. Okay, so the problem with not initializing this variable, according to the documentation, is that it can cause unpredictable results or crashes in your program. Okay. So these ones are dangerous because they're uninitialized. So when you print them out, STU and V, and you set T plus U plus V to S, it's gonna print out some random number because we didn't initialize them. Alright, so is this just something that's used for integers? Here, let me go back up. I'm gonna push Control F and just do a quick little search. I initialize that. I initialize this. All right, so I do only have one variable that's not initialized. Oops. All right, so save. Go back to the bottom and initialize guess. So the IDE, Microsoft Visual Studio, is helping me to not make errors, which are going to produce unpredictable behavior later. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out what to initialize it to though, because I don't want to put a number. I don't want to put a number in here. Already. I think I'll just initialize it to 0. Enter a guess between 0 and 15. Alright. Just to give him some sort of, some sort of idea what the number could be. Alright, so I'll put in 0. And put in 8. Put in 10. Of course, I already know the answer. 7. And boom. There we go. You're amazing. You win. There it is. Okay, cool. So, let's keep going. Okay. So, what to learn next? Okay. Okay, so Mike has assigned us some homework, and he says to create this game using a do while loop instead of a while loop. Alright, so let's do that real quick. Alright, so I'm gonna just grab this part, copy it. And put in my do. Move my while right here. And do this while the secret number is not equal to guess. Alright, that should have done it. That's what I'm thinking. Alright. F5. Interval between 0 and 15. 96. 96. That's way not between 0 and 15. At least not in these here parts. 12. 7. Alright. So I should get. You're amazing. You win. We did it. And our do while does the same thing. Alright. Cool. So. That's good. Oh. Alright. So, I'm gonna just now make this little game part of my existing program. Okay, so I'm gonna just change the name of this, not Secret Num Game, Secret Candy Game. Oops, game. Alright. And I'll just copy that here. Change it in my when I call it. Alright. And then also change the name of the actual function. Alright, so let's put it right at the top at first, just to test it. So character name loves candy. But how many pieces does he eat per sitting? Can you guess the right number? try. Alright. Identifier character name is undefined. Right, because I defined it down here. But I'm gonna move this later, underneath the where I actually declared and initialized the character's name. Alright, so then I want to take in, alright, so let's move this down here so it doesn't get rid of that error message. I'm going to put it underneath these variables. Okay, so Tom Scott loves candy, but how many pieces does he eat per sitting? Can you guess the right number? Try. New line. Then we call it a secret candy game function. Alright, so secret 12 guess 0, enter guess between 0 and 25 just to make it a little bit harder. Taking the guess while the secret num is not equal to the guess. Alright, see out. Wow, he's a glutton, right? Drinking games and tons of candy. Sheesh. Nice job. Alright, let's erase all this stuff. Oops. And there we go. Okay. So, oops, let's see. Let's put 31 pieces. And number between 0 and 50. You're gonna be guessing all night. Alright, so that should work. Void secret candy game. See, I do wonder if this part can go within the actual, yeah, I think I do that. I'm just gonna put all this section inside of the function. See, I'm never sure what goes in the function and what doesn't. Does this cout part go in the function, or does it go before the function? Is the function just when it's actually doing something? I think the cout can go outside of this function. So let me put it back where it was. I'm pushing Control Z. Can you guess the right number? Actually, I'm just getting this part. Okay, I'm just gonna ask them this, and then call the function. Okay, F5. Tom Scott loves candy, but how many pieces does he eat per sitting? Enter guess between 0 and 50. 25. Enter guess between 0 and 50. 36. Presume 0 and 50. 31. And what do we have? Wow, he's a glutton, right? Drinking games and tons of candy. Sheesh, nice job. Alright, so we have the basics of this game. So cool. Let's keep going. Oops, putting the wrong thing. So to make this game a little bit more fun, we're going to put a limit on how many times the player can guess how much candy Tom Scott loves to eat in each setting. So let's go back to where we defined the secret game function and do this. Set it to 0 because the user hasn't guessed yet. Alright. Alright, so this guess limit is how many times they get to guess before they lose. Yep, so we're setting it to false, so the user, we know whether or not the user is out of guesses or not. When this hits true, that means they are out of guesses. And bools are either true or false. Alright. Okay, so what we have here is we have an integer called guess count, which starts at 0. So this is when they first run the secret candy game. They haven't guessed at all. And then we have the guess limit. They're only allowed 3 guesses. And then we have whether or not they have any guesses left. We start at false because they're not out of guesses. So once they do run out of guesses, then this goes to true. So after that, we put in this if statement. So if the guess count is less than the guess limit, we ask them to enter another guess. And then we take in the guess, and then we increment by 1 the guess count. Once they hit 3 guesses, it's going to go to the else statement, and then their out of guess is going to be true. So then they have lost the game at this point. Alright, so we want to do one more thing down here. If So if out of guesses is true, we want to output you didn't guess the correct amount of candy. He's eating more! No, he's not. He didn't guess the correct amount of candy. Aww. Too bad for you. But, if you did, wow, nice job. He's a glutton, right? Drinking games and tons of candy? Sheesh. Nice job. Alright. So, if the player is out of guesses, they lose. They did not win the game. But if they do have guesses left, then they won the game. Alright. So this happens so after they break out of the loop, I have a do while loop. Yes. Okay. So this should work. Alright, so let's try to let's just lose the game. I'm gonna put 23 and then 23 and then 23. And then what's supposed to happen is we lost the game. I did it wrong. Just a minute, let me see. Let me move this while a little bit lower. That means, is that what's wrong with this? Okay, now let me try it. Because Mike has a while loop, but I have a do while loop. I don't think that'll work either, actually. Let's see. 3, wow, nice job, he's a clever. Candy. Number is not 23. Oh, okay, I see. And then I have an infinite loop. Oh, mine's wrong. Okay, let me just put that back. Alright, I'm gonna do what he does and just make the while loop. Alright, so I'm gonna put the while up here. While the secret gnome. While the secret gnome is not equal to guess. Let me go back a little bit. Oops, just a minute. Let's see. Oh. No. Where did it go? I'm in the wrong part. Okay. So actually, later in this tutorial, he is going to do 4 loops. Alright. Now mine's a little broken and messed up, so let me just go back through his tutorial and fix it. Alright, so in the comments below, what would you use for this game? Instead of candy, what would you want the player to guess about our character, Tom Scott? Alright, let me fix it while the secret number is not able to guess. Oh, oops, I put this in the wrong spot. Okay. Okay, so actually what this says is, while the secret number is not equal to the guess, and the player is not out of guesses, while these both are true, and then you do, if the guess count is less than the guess limit, enter a guess. Take in the guess and then increment the guess count. Else, the player is out of guesses. So if either of these is false, then it's gonna go out of this loop and then do this part. So if they are out of guesses, output you lost. If they won the game, if they guessed the correct number, within the guesses, then they won the game. All right, so now let's run it. First I'm just gonna see. I'm just gonna lose the game. It seems to be working, but it's slow. Let's see. Alright. I think something's wrong with mine. Okay, there's definitely something wrong. So it's outputting this part, but then it's not calling the function. While the secret number is not equal to the guess, and the player is not out of guesses. And the character has guesses. Oh, here we go. There we go. Semicolon. You do me in. Okay. This should work now. Hopefully. Maybe. Ah, there we go. Okay. This is a... Okay, yes, the semicolon. Watch out for those. They're the end of a statement, but I moved the while loop from the bottom of the do while loop and changed it to a while loop and put it at the top, but I forgot to erase the semicolon. Alright, so let's guess. Let's just lose the game. And then what happened? We should have lost the game. You didn't guess the correct amount of candy. Oh, no candy for you. So they guessed the same number, and of course they lost. Alright, so now let's get the game correct. It was 31, right? Yeah, okay. Enter a guess. Let's do 20. Let's do 31. And then I should have won the game automatically. Wow, nice job. It's a glutton, right? Drinking game, endless candy, sheesh. Okay. So, as long as they're not out of guesses, they are not gonna fail. So this is 23, 25, and 31. And then they will win the game again. Alright, so we just put a line here and a line here. Okay, that's a new line. So this game is working properly. Okay, cool. So with that, I'm gonna end this video, upload my code, and then I will do 1 more hour. Alright, so I'm gonna upload this to my, where is it? Here it is. To my GitHub for day January 25th, 2020. this is called an interrobang. That's when you have a question mark and then the exclamation mark. Your browser is something unexpected. Please contact us if the problem persists. Alright, let me just try this again. And there we go. Yes. Oh, I'm not signed in anymore though. That's strange. Oh, alright, that's because I alright, let's sign me back in. Oh, well, thank you. Okay, anyway. So, put my code up here. 12 months Game Studio. And, let's see. Code. Code. There it is. January 25th. And now let's put this code in place of this placeholder code. Well, see, the thing is, with GitHub, you have to have a file. You have to have a file before you can create a new section. So it's an option. Added the secret candy. No, that's not what I thought. Secret candy game. Used a while loop and nested loops. I believe. Is that right? Yes, because I have a if loop within a while loop. Okay, yes. Cool. Working code. Alright, and commit changes. Boom. Alright, so with that, I will be saying good night or good morning or just have a great day. Keep working on your dreams. Don't stop. Create your utopia. You are amazing. All right. Later.